Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox, and I'd like to welcome you to the Daily Compliance News. The Daily Compliance News is an offering of the Compliance Podcast Network. February 21, 2019, the Lex issue. For those who do not know, the Financial Times runs a column on the back page of the first section called Lex, L-E-X. And it has really interesting tidbits or columns where the writers really go to town with some witty sarcasm. So I thought we would take a look at the Lex column for our topics today. First up is HSBC. And the reason they are up in a compliance role is they are in 66 countries. 66 outposts. So I would ask you to consider, how are you going to have compliance in HSBC's case, anti-money laundering in all of those areas? The problem for HB is their net income is down 1.2% in 2018, so they're going to have to figure out how to do more compliance with less resources. Always a challenge. Next up, Manolete. Manolete is the name for a Spanish bullfighter. It's also the name of a litigation financier in the United Kingdom. And we rarely have that type of company as part of a compliance program. Nevertheless, the problem was for Manolete that they had an IPO and they had to have a compliance program in this IPO. So if you're going to go public, think about how you're going to put together a compliance program. Next up, the spat between Danone and Nestle. So we have a French drink maker and a Swiss drink maker, and apparently they are brutal competitors, certainly in Europe. And the competitions are quite brutal. And from the compliance perspective, as a chief compliance officer, do you have visibility into campaigns against your really direct competitors? Have you thought about that from the compliance perspective? If you hadn't, I'd suggest you read the article and think about it. And finally, we end with an article about Wal-Mart. The Lex notes that as Wal-Mart goes, so goes the American consumer. The problem is that in the fourth quarter, sales were down over 7%. Now, think about that for a moment. When you have the world's largest retailer and sales go down in Q4, that's for the brick and mortar. How soon before they pick up and move to online? Once again, from the compliance professional's perspective, do you have visibility into these issues? That's the Lex column. I'm London this week, so I hope you will enjoy the take from the UK press about compliance, corruption, and ethics stories. This is Tom Fox. If you have any ideas for the Daily Compliance News, please feel free to email me at tfox@tfoxlaw.com. I'd love to hear from you. As you may know, we've had several new offerings on the Compliance Podcast Network. One of those includes Popcorn and Compliance, where Jay Rosen and I take a look at compliance through the lens of movies, both current, contemporary movies, and classic movies. Also premiering in December. And finally, Mary Shirley and Lisa Fine have premiered their new podcast, Great Women on Compliance. I hope you will check that out. It's a great podcast series. We have several other offerings that are in production that will go live hopefully in Q1 of 2019. I hope you will check back to see the offerings on this Compliance Podcast Network.